Ain't no remorse in my blood slim. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember Johanna's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in his body, you fit a Lord, fuck the cocktail. Triangle.
Yeah. Shalom, Israel. What's going on? I'm Precinct Officer Donald Schaub of the Isupk, started 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohanna. We've been teaching the truth since 1969, right? So for today, I wanted to dive into the major news that's been going on all across the nation, and that's with these ICE raids, right? I got my main brother on the line with me, you know what I'm saying, Apario, you know what I mean, gonna hold it down. Brother from the tribe of Ephraim, which is so-called Puerto Ricans, you know what I mean, gonna help out with the translation as well, right? Because this right here, what most people don't understand is that these so-called Latinos and Hispanics are God's chosen people, right? They descend from the 12 tribes of Israel, right? And what is being done to them is not only inhumane, but it's totally against God, right? It's a fight against the Most High. God is with the Latinos and he's with the Hispanics. Right? So we're going to go through a couple videos about the raid, all right, give you a recap on the news that most people are, I hope most people are familiar with. Then we'll go into what the Bible says about it. So being that they are the chosen people, we'll go into the scriptures to see how God feels about it and what's his response to it. You know, we're seeing what's going on in LA. Who's to say with all this uncertainty that this won't also happen here in Orlando, here in Florida, where there's a high population of Latinos, of immigrants, so-called immigrants, Haitians, Venezuelans, right? People that Trump has banned, right? So all this is going on, so we got to make our people aware, right? If you want to say a shout out, you want to shout them out real quick, salute them out, you go ahead and do your thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Shout out to all my Ephraimites, man. My Simeons, everybody, you know what I'm saying? Estamos aquí. La gente de nosotros se tienen que levantar. Se tienen que abrir los ojos. Estamos aquí.
Damn right. I wish I knew what you said, but I'm learning.
Nah, I basically said my people, we here. We gotta open our eyes. We gotta rise up.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. You know what I mean? And this is what it's going to take to get rid of that divide between blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You know what I mean? Like this Bible is what unifies us. And the oppressor, he put many things in place to keep us divided. Starting with religion, all right, as well as with our language, right? Me speaking English is not even my native tongue. Right. You know, that's the European language. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Straight from the white man. You dig what I'm saying? And he did so many things to make sure that we don't see each other as brothers. But here in the ICPK, we're gonna go ahead and abolish that. So let's get these videos going. And also, too, man, throughout this presentation, I want to ask you as well a couple questions about, you know, the Hispanic community and how they perceiving this with your, you know, family members or any close friends that you may have that's possibly affected by this directly or indirectly, you know, that know a friend or know somebody that's being affected by this, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like I have a lot of people back home in New York that you know, they're from you know, like these third world countries, you know, Salvador and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they're being affected by it, you know what I'm saying? Right. But as far as like the Ephraimites and stuff like that, they colonized us basically. The white man owns our land, so
Right,
it doesn't affect us directly, but I do know, what I'm saying, of people that is, what I'm saying, they taking their family away from them, man. They deporting them. It's nuts. It's nuts.
right, right. It's inhumane, man, and I
It
appreciate
is.
you for sharing that, man. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The Puerto Ricans are not directly being affected by this, you know what I mean? But your brothers are, you
Yep.
know. Mexicans and Puerto
Yep.
Ricans are brothers,
And
Earth,
it's not
wind,
it's not
right?
only it's not only the Mexicans and Salakia, sir,
No,
Salakia.
no, no, you got it, you got it.
It's not only the Mexicans and like the Ecuadorians. It's Dominicans,
Mm-hmm.
Salvadoreños, Guatemaltecos, and all of them, or
Yeah,
everybody that's, what I'm saying, our brothers and sisters, they're being affected by it. You know what I'm saying, and they're going hard. You know what I'm saying, they're
yeah.
going hard. They're leaving no stone unturned.
That's crazy that you said that, man. And throughout this presentation, we're gonna go through the nations that's being banned, um, the permits that uh, President Donald Trump canceled, and we're gonna get what countries are being affected by it as well, man. So this is something that is major,
Hmm.
because nobody else is being affected by it but Latinos and blacks and West Indians. You know what I mean? Like you don't see these raids happening in Chinatown, at least at this magnitude. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, right?
Yep.
Uh,
You don't see it like that. They not ripping these kids out from their mother's arms, and you know what I'm
not at
saying,
all. Right?
taking them away, putting them in behind a gate, because that's what they're
Mhm.
doing. They're not even sending them nowhere really. They're putting them behind a gate.
Look at that. You
Tell
know what I mean? Like this is crazy. So let's
you.
let's let's get the news recap real quick.
Hmm.
Um, see what's going on in LA. This video, right? I know most people have seen this already. We just want to do a brief recap. Like this what's been going on throughout the week. Right? For a few days now, they've been protesting out here, right? And this right here is also about protesting in other areas across the nation. And so, you know, this deportation is not only happening in California, but it's happening in all 50 states. Right? Only the so-called snaps. Like, see what's going on? Look at that. Tear gas, shot, all that. Yeah, people being done. Right here in LA. Now, what we witnessing right now, who's to say that this can't happen in Orlando? I've seen a few videos scrolling through online of, uh, ICE agents being spotted, right? Border patrol being spotted in areas that they're not normally seen at. So I seen a video where they was driving up OBT.
Hmm.
OBT is full of this car. You go into spots like Oak Ridge, full of this car. You know, different areas in Orlando is it's a high uh, uh, Latino Hispanic population. West Indian population.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Same thing.
Salakia,
Go.
especially Kissimmee,
Yeah,
and
Cindy, God.
yeah, Kissimmee, and up here where I'm at too.
Mm,
Up here in Wildwood, heavily Spanish, heavy Spanish. You go into Ocala, and you could see like at first you'll see a lot of Edomites. You know what I'm saying? You'll see a lot of these, you know what I'm saying, white people, whatever. But you starting to see a lot of Spanish people now.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. Yeah. So let's go to the next slide. I'm gonna
Hmm.
show you this other video I got, right? So
You
we
see they
seen,
fighting back though.
yeah, right, right. And listen,
Gassing
get
them
them
out. Get them
ahead.
out of here.
Get them ahead. You know what I mean? Of course, we know we're gonna go through towards the end of
Yes,
this whole
sir.
presentation. We'll get we'll get the solution to all of this as well, right?
Hmm.
Because what's going on right now is all biblical. It's biblical. You know what I mean? This is something done by a greater power. And there is a solution out there, right? So we'll definitely get that. But I do want to commend them for even having the guts to express their frustration.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
the general brought out in yesterday's class that how anger is the liberty of a free man.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that's free, they only have the liberty to show their anger.
Mm-hmm.
A slave is supposed to be happy all the time.
Yep.
I mean, so I definitely commend them for that, man. And because of what's going on, this video right here is going to show the reason why people are protesting the way they are in California. Right. So
Yep.
this is some of the raids. This video is going to show you what the raids look like. Right? And before I play, I do want to mention right there early in Trump's presidency, he said that these ICE raids and the ICE agency are mainly targeting criminals. You remember that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
He
said,
was big on that. He was big on that. Salakia. He
right,
was big on that.
right, facts. What I mean? He was big on making sure that they only target criminals. Well,
Mm-hmm.
let's see if that's consistent with today. Right? Let's see this video real quick.
So right now we are in Omaha, Nebraska. We are with federal agencies as they go in and they're actually doing a targeted enforcement operation here at Glen Valley Foods, where several individuals are there working illegally. There are about 70 officers and agents on scene right now. They're about to go in to this facility right now, and we are the only network on scene.
Look at them, all on the floor, handcuffed. They don't look like criminals to me.
They working.
Yeah,
They
you
were.
know.
And you know what's the craziest part?
Uh,
I saw something the other day where he was like, we're gonna keep all the workers and the immigrants that work in fields and construction and in the hotels." And I'm like, "So you want slaves? That's what you want?
right,
You,
that's
you
right.
want slaves, huh? That's what we
Yeah,
doing.
right.
If you ain't coming over here to pick our fields and to clean our rooms, you can't be here."
Hmm. You see that? You know what I mean? That should tell you the nature and the character of the people that run this country, right? The people that's on top, the majority, right? They
Hmm.
are the most laziest working class in American existence, right? They're not willing to do these jobs that these Latinos and Hispanics are doing. You know what I mean? They're not willing to go out there in the field, but yet they complaining about them taking their job, and they don't even want to do it.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I'm gonna just say it plain out. The white man is the most laziest being ever. You know what I mean? I
Ever.
was trying to be politically correct a bit. You know what I mean? But yes, the white man is lazy. You
Yeah.
know what I
They
mean?
they are, man. They listen. Let me tell you something. I've worked with a bunch of them, man. They don't. There's a lot of things that I would have done that they wouldn't think about doing.
Look at these, man. You know what I'm saying? Like they're going into job sites to find these migrants. They're not doing it in a drug house.
Right.
They're not doing it during a prostitution sting. They're not doing it in any other criminal activity, but they're going to where they work to make a living, pay taxes, and do right by their families. That's what they find. Look at them,
Yep.
elderly woman.
It's it's crazy, man. Cause the craziest part is like if you know the strip in Miami,
Mm-hmm.
South Beach.
Yeah, South
That
Beach.
that was all funded off of Pablo Escobar and all these people that sold drugs, right?
Mm-hmm.
but then they turn around and they go kill him and stay with all of the, you know what I'm saying? They take that same
Yeah.
money from him and invest it in buildings and stuff like that and make millions and
Right.
trillions of dollars and make it South Beach, but they don't tell you how that was made.
Mm. Listen,
The
that's
the 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 war in Cuba too. That was funded by Pablo.
mm.
It's crazy,
Wow.
man.
Nah,
It's
fact. Listen, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you mentioned that. You know, because this is like the pot calling the kettle black. Like this
mm-hmm.
is hypocrisy at its finest.
At its
You,
finest, sir.
you know,
At its
right?
finest.
The guilty is trying to convict the guilty. Like America is responsible for the issues in America. You know, these white Americans are responsible. You
Right.
know what I mean? But
Come
yet,
sir.
you know, nobody is out there is profiling them. You know, nobody's going on their job sites and seeing their credentials and who they are and all that stuff. But yet, Hispanic people are always demonized and criminalized as if they are the number one issue with America.
Yeah. And they that's like humiliation, man. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
look at that. She's crying.
Yeah, that's dehumanizing, man. Like, hey,
Right.
these people, man, it angers me, man, because it's like, imagine being in that position. You know you're about to get separated from your rib, and
Yeah.
your kids is about to get separated from you, and you got to
Mhm.
do everything these white people tell you to do. You got to eat when they tell you to eat, sleep when they tell you to sleep, because it's not like they sending you over there right away. They not
Right.
sending you back. They not sending you home right away. They keeping you in one of those camps for months.
Hmm. Right. That must be the most scariest feeling ever, man. You know what I mean? To be in this situation.
Yeah, imagine not knowing where your kids are, if they good, if they not good, how they treating them. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying?
God. And being that America thrives off the suffering of God's chosen people, right? They are looked at as honorable by the elites, by the people that run this country. They look like they're being looked at as they're doing a good service to the nation of America. You know, when this is what being inhumane, incompassionate, no empathy looks like. You know, this is what it looks like.
Right.
And they won't understand it until it happens to them. Okay?
It's crazy, man. It's
God.
crazy.
So let's go on to the next bit, right?
The
So
same
that
people that the same people they use to build their buildings and to cut their lawn, they locking them up and man, it's crazy. They ripping them apart, man.
fact, ripping them apart, man. And little children as well too. Nobody exempt from these raids. That's the crazy thing about it. Like nobody is using humanity in this
Mm-hmm.
process. Nobody. Right? They're just focusing on, like you said, dehumanizing Hispanic Latinos. Right. This is another reason why people are rioting in
Mm-hmm.
California, right? Protesting, right? This is another video.
Fuck you. City schools are predominantly Hispanic. They were having their graduation, and there's helicopters in the sky, and a bunch of parents have to run out because ISIS is there. They don't have papers, and they had to leave their kids because the kids do. What type of shit is this, yo? And then kids are freaking grabbing teachers and crying on their leg because they don't know if they're about to see their parents when they get home. What the fuck is this? And we voted for this shit? 15 people just got picked up on Wilshire at the Home Depot. On
Crazy.
Wilshire.
Look at that. Boy got ran over.
Yo,
Wow.
man, oh my God. This is not right. This is not right, yo.
Almost as it's crazy. You can hear the pain in his voice. You can hear the
Yeah.
sadness, man.
Yeah.
You know, to see little children at a graduation being picked off by like that's crazy. The only time you heard about this in world history was during Nazi Germany. You know, this is nigh onto the Holocaust for Hispanic people in the Latino community.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, this is crazy. Little children at that.
Babies, man, babies.
Babies. You know what I mean?
It's crazy, man. Imagine you know 7 years old, 8 years old, and you got to see your parents running for their life, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. It's supposed to be the happiest time, you know, one of the most happiest time in your life where you about
Right.
to graduate,
Right.
yet it's overshadowed by sorrow and despair because of ICE pages. You know what I mean? Like these are good, hardworking people that came here to give a better life to their
Hmm.
children. Right? The same thing that what Christopher Columbus did. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The same thing that the Europeans did. They came
Hmm.
over here, right? In order to make a better living for their race. But here's the problem. Right? The white man is the devil, the Bible speaks of. You know, enough is never enough for him. You know what I mean? And the natives, they accepted it. They welcomed them in. And yet the oppressor, the Europeans, slaughtered them and took over this land. And now they're calling them immigrants. Makes no sense. I mean, so this next video right here is gonna show what happened in Florida. Right?
Mm.
As I mentioned, Florida got a high population of Hispanics, Latinos, West Indies, all the countries that Trump is up against or fighting against. You know what I mean? And recently there was a raid in Tallahassee, right? Raid at another work spot, not at a crack house, not during a prostitution sting or not during some any other crime, you know, but people just working to make a living. That's where the raid happened, right? And it was right here in Tallahassee. And people know as well that Ron DeSantis, he's like, you know, hand in hand with Trump.
Hmm.
That's like his boy.
Hmm.
You know, if Trump is going full force with these raids, he's gonna go 10 times strong. This is a glimpse of it right here. Video.
This morning, we're working to learn what's next after a major ICE raid in our state's capital. More than 100 people were detained there in Tallahassee. Homeland Security agents and more than 50 FHP troopers took part in this operation at a construction site near Florida State University. These are some of the pictures and video showing dozens of people there lined up with handcuffs and zip ties near new student housing development. The Department of Homeland Security says that this raid is part of an ongoing investigation. This morning, we're
Look at that. Take it. Look at that. There's some of the footage of it. It is.
Give me your hand! Don't! Give me your hand! Give me your hand! Fight!
Ridiculous, man.
Salak, yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And you know how many people they probably killing, and they not even in the process of these raids and stuff, and they not even documenting it.
Mm-hmm. It's not even being reported.
It's not being reported. It's not being nothing. It's just another dead. You know what I'm saying, nigga, basically. You know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Fact.
Another one for the books. Go ahead, bag them up, bag them and tag them, take them out of here.
Yep. You exactly correct. And being that they have no data, no social security, it's like they gonna get away with it. You know what I mean?
They get erased.
Yeah. They get erased. Like, you know, it's no record of it at all that they even exist.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And there's a story that came out not too long ago as well of a Haitian woman that died in ICE custody. Not too long ago. Crazy that you mentioned that because that's very true.
Telling you, man, there's been a lot of stories, that I hear from, friends, back home, because I got a lot of friends that are from, different countries. New York is a melting pot. of just different ethnicities. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot because this has been going on for years already. You
Right.
know, this whole ICE thing and these concentration camps that they got. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like they're keeping them there and then they're sending them out to back to their countries. No, they've been keeping people there for months, even years. You know what I'm saying? Losing people's kids. People are dying and it's not being reported. And I've heard so many stories like, yeah, my aunt, she was in one of those and we don't know where she is. And then a couple months later, yeah, she's dead.
Wow.
You know?
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
crazy, man. It's crazy what they're doing to these families, bro. These
Wow.
it's crazy.
Ridiculous, man. It can drive anybody to want to go out, hit the streets, and burn something. You know what I mean? Of course, we're not advocating nobody out there to riot, but we can
Right,
understand the
right,
pain of our people.
right.
We know the pain. You know what I mean? This has gone far enough. And we're looking for a solution.
Right.
I mean, it's very unfortunate this happens to those people, right? And like you mentioned, with them possibly unaliving migrants, let alone not to mention, the trafficking, you know what I'm saying? Getting
Hmm.
young girls, young children, you know what I'm saying? And trafficking them,
Yep,
all of that stuff, you know what I
yep.
mean? And, like, this is crazy. Who knows what they're doing with these people?
Man, them YT people is you know what I'm saying, touching these kids, man.
Yup.
You know that. You know they're taking advantage, man. They if they killing the adults, who knows what they're doing to these kids?
Mm-hmm. Fact. Who knows? Who knows what they doing to these children, man? I mean, it's been going for a minute now, and it's about time that the Hispanics and Latinos get some retribution, right? So I'm gonna play this next video. This one is the new restriction, all right? That the administration, Trump's administration, where he revokes legal status for over 500,000 migrants. Right? Many of these people came over here, and many of them came over here through the Biden administration, right? Was giving a visa status to work, and
Hmm.
Trump ended up revoking it. And trying to give them status that they're not here legally.
That's right.
And abandoning a few countries. So we're gonna look into the video and see who these countries are. And your phone had cut off. Did you want to finish your point?
No. It's good. It's
Okay,
good. It's good. It's good.
good. All right.
The Trump administration has told hundreds of thousands of migrants from several countries that they are losing their legal status in the U.S. CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camila Montoya Galvez joins us now for more on this. So, Camila, very good to see you. How did this decision come about, and who are these migrants that are being affected by the move?
Hi, Nancy. Well, this action by the Trump administration stems from a Supreme Court ruling back in May that allowed the Department of Homeland Security to follow through on an action to terminate a Biden-era program that allowed 500,000 migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela to come here legally under the Biden administration. At the time, officials said that this policy was designed to dissuade and deter migrants from crossing the U.S.-Mexico border illegally by offering them a legal mechanism to come here to the U.S. But the Trump administration...
I'm going to pause it real quick. Right? This is not affecting nobody else but these people. All right? You don't see no Chinese. You don't see no white South Africans, Ukrainians, all the other nations of people who come here. This is affecting God's chosen people, so-called Hispanics, indigenous, native Indian people. You know what I mean? And the West Indian people, right? Me being the Haitian, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think my people's affected by this as well too. I know people in Haiti right now, right? People in Haiti that can't even come here, right? To get asylum or to get any type of help or rescue because the harsh administration that Trump is designing.
Mhm.
Revoking the statuses of over 500,000 migrants. And the majority of these migrants live in places like Florida, places like Orlando. Okay?
Yep.
This is where they
Hey,
all at. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, sir.
Nah,
Salakia.
you got it.
These places are like back home. You know what I'm saying? These places are tropical. You know what I'm saying? These places are hot. They is what our blood is used to, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You're exactly right.
So you'll find a bunch of them out here. You'll find a bunch of them in California. You'll find a bunch of them Texas. All these places that are hot.
Yeah. Yeah, man. You know what I mean? We gonna go to places that we feel most at home in. You know what I mean? And like you said, places like Cali, Texas, Florida, they have that the climate where it feels much at home. Their environment where it feels much at home. I mean, they're not coming here, to cause any trouble. They
Right.
just need help. That's all. So Trump decided recently, if I'm not mistaken, this happened like 2 days ago. He decided to revoke the legal status. All right. Now, all these migrants that stuck here in Orlando, what do you think Trump is going to decide to do with them? He's going to deport them right back to wherever they came from. We continue with the video.
Nancy has argued that this policy was unlawful and that the people who came under this initiative were not properly screened and vetted. And now this program has been officially ended. And the hundreds of thousands of people who came under this initiative are now being told, Nancy, to use a smartphone app to sign up for self-deportation to leave the country voluntarily. Otherwise, officials are warning them that they will be found, identified, arrested, and forcibly deported from the country.
But
you see that? See? So they're going to be found, hunted down, like there's some wild beast, as if they're not human, and be deported out of this country. All right? So best believe raids are going to continue to happen, and they're going to spread further places than just what you see in California and Tallahassee. Soon enough, places that you are locally from, grew up at, Orlando, Kissimmee, you're going to start to see more and more of these raids happening in places like this. All right? Because Trump is trying to hunt down each and every one of them. Let me go to the next slide. Now, this is how I want to just play this video. Now, of course, we've seen the response from the public on how they feel about these raids, based on what's going on in Cali. All right, so now you got this sheriff of Brevard County that's going to speak on the riots and all of that stuff and how he feels about people being upset. Instead of taking a diplomatic approach and, being neutral and saying, well, we understand the frustration, but if people can please be peaceful, right? They rather took it upon themselves to take a hostile approach, which is going to just make things more worse. You know what I mean? They're going to use their, threats as an excuse to go out there and harm Hispanic people and Latino people. All right? Let me play this video real quick.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here on the Space Coast. I'm joined by a bunch of leaders that further exemplify why we are not and will never be California. This is Florida, the anti-rioting state. So I'm glad to be joined here today by your great sheriff, Wayne Ivey. We have a new ICE liaison in the state of Florida, which is one of our big announcements today. Agent Anthony Coker, who you'll hear from. FHP Colonel Gary Howes, who leads the troopers, Florida's public safety czar, Larry Keefe. We have your great state attorney, Will Shiner, and Senator Debbie Mayfield. So thank you all for being here today. Two big announcements. One, we're excited to be the first state to announce our own ICE agent embed in the state. Agent
that?
Coker will be.
You see that? They got their own ICE embedded in the state, agency in the state, right? They're getting prepared for something big. After Trump done revoked the legal status of these migrants, right? They're going to enforce these ICE agents to go all throughout Florida, right, to deport Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That's what's getting ready to happen. So places like Orlando, which has a high Hispanic population, a high West Indian population, right? These are the places that they're going to look to target. All right, get ready to start to see more ICE agents, more Border Patrol vehicles in areas that you would not likely see them.
Be housed here with our leadership team in Florida as we work to support the Trump administration's efforts to combat illegal immigration. We have a great collaborative operation with the feds, with ICE, and we're very, very proud to support them. So thank you for being here with us today. Number two, we're going to talk about a new program that we're executing to.
I'm going to fast forward it, not to be too long-winded. I just want to get what the sheriff said.
Good morning, everybody. So I want to start out by thanking our Attorney General for joining us here in beautiful Brevard County. Our Attorney General and Governor Ron DeSantis also for their amazing support for law enforcement. Public safety in our communities is like nothing we've ever seen before. People are moving to Florida in droves because this is the free state of Florida. They're moving here because they know their families will be safe here. Their businesses will be safe. They won't have to contend with what we're seeing in places like Los Angeles and New York and Chicago, those things that are happening right now as we stand here today speaking. Our general was, I will say, very instrumental, was the tip of the spear in our blueprint for free Florida. And now he's the tip of the spear in making sure that we are protecting what I like to call our 3 C's, our citizens, our cops, and our Constitution. And he has stood strong with not only law enforcement, but with us here in Brevard County, and we appreciate you. I'm gonna start out by addressing the doxing issue that we were talking about. Our ICE agents, just like our Florida Highway Patrol, are our partners. We all ride together in this. We all are out here to make sure that we're protecting our citizens, protecting our communities. Many of them have been called to the border. Many of them have been called to other locations to deal with the amount of fugitives and things that are going on, detainers. So for us, we will have their back. We will work closely with Colonel Howes and his team in making sure that we're increasing patrol. We're watching them. Anybody that's doxing them, as the General said, we passed a law about 4 or 5 years ago that makes it illegal to dox here in the state of Florida. So anybody's doing that, we will take them to full task on doing it. And we will stand with you. I want to define a couple things. And our general was very kind in how he said things. I'm not as usually as elegant in how I say things. So I'm gonna first say that peaceful protests are part of our democracy. We invite people to share their opinions. That's what our country is all about. The key word in that is peaceful. And if it's peaceful, us in law enforcement are going to make sure you have a safe environment to do it in. That's part of that process. If you let it turn violent, you do not want to do that in Brevard County. I'm going to tell you that, and I believe I can speak for my fellow sheriffs around the rest of the state. You don't want to let it happen. And just so there's no confusion, because I don't want to hear any whining later saying we didn't know, I'm going to break it down for you. All right. Because as you watch these riots unfold across the rest of the country, what you are seeing is buildings being burned down, police cars being bricked, having explosive devices thrown on them, having fire, guns pointed at them, bricks thrown at them, all and on. So I'm gonna break it down for you. All right. And if somebody wants to know what I mean by turn violent, all right, this is what I mean. If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired, because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead.
You hear these guys? You hear that? You know what I mean? That's what's coming.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, right?
And they proud of it too. Do you see how proud they are?
Cats is bold as could be, man. As if what they're doing is not inhumane. Like they feel just about it.
It's for them. It's like killing the chicken.
Mm-hmm. Right. You know, it's nothing. You know, it's just a regular day for them.
They've been doing this to us for years, man. To blacks and Hispanics, they've been sicking their dogs on us when we were slaves running away. They've been hanging us, beating us. This is normal for them. This is literally in their blood.
Mm-hmm.
It's generational for them.
All right. You know, I mean, you're exactly right, man. This is what's in their blood. People, Native Indian people, you have to understand. Latino people, you have to understand. This is what an enemy looks like. This is what an enemy sounds like. Right? There should be no reason where we should feel comfortable enough to want to join with these people. Right? It will never ever work out for us as a people. They are not your allies. Right? That whole Latino for Trump movement was a failure. The same way it was a failure for Black people to be a part of the civil rights movement. Whenever we seek to join our enemies, we become further destroyed. Right? And this is what an enemy looks like. They acting like the cops out there during these protests are not out there provoking people. Right? Like they don't go out there being agitators to the people that's out there trying to protest. Because sometimes it starts out peacefully. Right? But they be putting things in place, right, to get the crowd to react to. You know, there's video footage of piles of rocks being laid on the side of the road. This is the type of the things that they doing. You know, somebody's spending that money to put the rocks in. Right? So while the police officer goes out there and I guess to watch over the protest, they go out there provoking the people, agitating the people. They see the rocks laying down on the side of the road. They get tempted and wanting to, you know, charge it at one of the police officers, and boom, another Black man dead, another Hispanic man dead. And he's going to be justified for doing it. Right? Never trust your enemy. This is all a setup. Right? And they're making these type of press conferences because something major is getting ready to happen. Not let alone the protest that's getting ready to happen this weekend. Right? But also they're getting ready to push on the raids. And they're gonna make this protest an example on not to fight back when you get ready for these raids in places like Orlando. You get to the next one. This is what the center is saying.
Here's some rather macabre news you may or may not have heard. Florida drivers apparently have the right to hit protesters with their cars. That's according to Governor Ron DeSantis, who said drivers will not be held liable if they fear for their lives. DeSantis made the remarks during an appearance this week on Dave Rubin's podcast. Let's watch that.
And we also have a policy that if you're driving on one of those streets and a mob comes and surrounds your vehicle and threatens you, you have a right to flee for your safety. And so if you drive off and you hit one of these people, that's their fault for impinging on you. You don't have to sit there and just be a sitting duck and let the mob grab you out of your car and drag you through the street.
You know what he's doing? Right? If anybody can hear this and read between the lines, right? You know what he's doing? What he's doing is promoting violence against these protesters.
Salakia,
Right?
sir.
Con,
He's enabling. He's
thank
enabling.
you.
He's in other words, he's putting a battery in people's back
Yes,
so they could go and kill our brothers and sisters for showing that they're angry, for showing that it's sick, man. It's sick.
thank you, brother. Thank you. That's perfectly put. Perfectly put. He's putting the battery in the backs of regular citizens, that patriotic citizens that love this country and live in Orlando and live in Ocala and live in other places in Florida, that once they see their protest, they're gonna feel that feeling of that this is a right for them to do. And they're not gonna feel no remorse behind it because people like the Sentes is giving the green light for them to do it. He's not speaking to the police officers. He's speaking to these nationalists. He's speaking to these patriotic groups that go out there and terrorize Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Well, here is their excuse for them to get away with it. He said, go out there and run them over. He's trying to set the example. All right, let me play some more.
You have a right to defend yourself in Florida.
So what? Mexican people don't? All right, Hispanic people don't? Latino people don't have a right to defend themselves? All right, this is an act.
Salakia, sir. That's basically what he's saying. I concur. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's basically saying, you see these blacks and Hispanics protesting, even if they're not in the way, hit them.
Yep. And all he
Don't
has
let
to
them show
do,
their anger. Don't
right?
quiet them, silence them. That's what they want. They want to keep us sleeping. They want to keep us silenced. And I'm gonna repeat it in Spanish so all my brothers and sisters could understand. Ellos no quieren callar, ellos nos quieren cerrar los ojos para que no nos levantemos, para que no nos unimos. Somos la gente de Israel y nos tenemos que unir. You know, I'm saying, you know, we the people of Israel, we gotta unite. We gotta unite, and they want to keep us sleeping, man.
Damn right, man. Damn right. You know, this is something that's important for our people to understand. All right, I'm gonna play a little bit more.
The law that DeSantis is referring to is not entirely new. It's Florida's 2021 Combating Public Disorder Act. It grants.
That's wow. You know, they're gonna be justified for what they're doing. This last video, right? I'm gonna just get towards the latter.
What's an illegal alien?
The latter end of the video, right? Because this man, he's an independent journalist, right? A YouTuber, and he ended up getting the chance to ride with an ICE agent during a raid, right? And there's a particular a part that stood out to me during this raid, right? He asked the agent, "How do you target these migrants?" Right? Because they have no data. It's not like you can search them up in the database. You know, how are you able to target them? Right? And I want y'all viewers to see this, to see, right? And I want y'all to tell me after we watch this clip, this little part, tell me what are the ways that they're targeting the market. Right? Get to this part right here.
If we can get a confirmation on that.
They're identifying the guy and where he's at. I don't think he's going to make it to work today. The real takeaway from this, any illegal watching, is don't enter the country illegally.
Yeah, vehicle's not here. I don't know if you want us to shift over to the second target and just leave one car behind over here.
It's always a risk. They have vests on, body armor. You just never know if these, targeted arrests can go sideways or if they go smoothly. So again, just being out here, again, continues to be a risk, not only for the agents, but also for the community.
Yo, hey man, yeah, vehicle's not here. What are you looking at? Have you got made down to the secondary yet?
We're just going to a different location to see if the arrest target might be there or is going to be there. This isn't uncommon. Like, we're not giving up on this. Like, we don't give up like that quickly. It's just an indication that the arrest target isn't here at the moment. So we're just shifting resources to a different target.
Where do you think he is?
No idea.
Could you enter a suspect's workplace to arrest the individual?
Conceivably, but that's not something that happens like too often. It just kind of depends. You want to be able to control
We just seen the
environment as
footage.
much as possible. So you want to remove those variables. You don't want to put the public in any kind of threat. That's really the end goal here, is to increase like public safety.
It's like chasing a ghost. If it's a U.S. citizen, they have history here. They have a social security number. They have family. They have just data. Our targets typically don't. It just takes more resources. It takes more intel, surveillance, officers, and it makes it that much harder in a sanctuary state or a sanctuary city.
So they need intel, surveillance, more officers. Right? No data on finding these people, right? So I'm gonna ask y'all, what do you think they do in order to target these migrants? Right? What do you think? Go ahead.
I feel like they're guessing. You know, they just going, and they're just, if you spend, they're profiling. They're racial profiling. If you're Mexican, you look Spanish.
Yes.
They taking you.
Give the brother. I mean, they profiling them. That's exactly. If you look Hispanic enough, right? Or if you're in an area where it's normally Hispanic, like places where a great majority of them will be at, right? This is how they target them, right? And profiling is a form of racism. This is nothing but racism, man. Right? They have no data. They have no social security. There's no way they can pinpoint them. So they use surveillance, intel. What intel and surveillance they use? Simple profile, racial profile. That's all. You know, they go in spots like Home Depot and seeing and targeting people and seeing the people that's over there. They go in places like a car meet. They're going into a high Hispanic community. They're going wherever they can find Hispanics and Latinos at. And they're looking for the ones that look the most Hispanic, the most Latino. You know what I mean? And harassing them, asking them for documents. And if they don't have the right documentation, they deport them right back to you. That's all they're doing. You know, this is inhumane, man. Like I said, they're not doing this to nobody else but to so-called Hispanics, right? But to the Native Indians, right? I say Native Indians because this land belongs to the Mexican people. California belongs to the Mexican people, right? This is what's going on in America, right? And we're going to speak on it now. Now that we brought out the presentation, letting you know that you are real close, right, for this happening in your backyard. Let's get to the solution. What is the solution for us? It's something that we should look into. What could we do to protect ourselves and make sure our families are safe? Right? That's the main thing. Right? So we're gonna get a few verses in the Bible to find out what the solution is. All right. The first one I want to grab. All right. Let's see. Are you able to read?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You sure? I don't want to jam you up because I know you're on the road.
Yeah, no. I'm able to read. I'm about to get to my destination right now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I'm turning in the parking lot right now. I'm gonna park up.
Okay, no sweat. I appreciate it too, man.
Yeah, we good, man. Look, man. It says, you know, it's for the Lord. It's for Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? So
Damn right.
I don't mind.
Right.
That's, you know what I'm saying, the Most High.
I definitely pray that this reaches, you know, the hearts of our people. You know, the demographic that we are intending to reach. You know, to save them because they are God's chosen people.
Right.
So the first one I'm gonna start out with. First of all, we gotta understand is who are these people, right? Throughout this whole presentation, we made a few mentions that they are the children of Israel. But let's go into the Bible and prove it. Right? I'm gonna give you the proof. Now I don't know. Do they have the Apocrypha in Spanish? They do, or no?
I'm not sure.
Nah. Okay.
I'm not sure if they do or don't. I'm pretty sure they do. I don't see why they wouldn't.
Right. I agree. But the first one is in the Apocrypha. You're gonna get
Okay.
Second Ezra, chapter 13, verse 40.
Let me.
Right? This is gonna give you a little bit of history on showing you who these people are, who these people ignorantly or wrongfully call Hispanic or Latino, right? When that's not their true origin, nor is it their true identity. They are 12 tribes of Israel. And if you don't got it, it's a while. I can read it. I can read this one in English, and then
I don't got this one.
Okay, all right. No sweat, no sweat. So I'm gonna read this one in English, and the next um verses and books we're gonna read is gonna be in Spanish, right? So for people that can better understand Spanish, right? So this is Second Ezra chapter 13, verse 40. My screen being shared. All right. Verse 40. Right. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, who Salmanaser, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over to the waters, so came they into another land. Right? This is given the history of the so-called northern kingdom, right? The house of Israel. Because if you know the history of the Israelites, right, the nation was split in two. You have the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, right? The southern kingdom consists of 3 tribes or 2.5 tribes, right? And the northern kingdom consists of 10 tribes or 9.5 tribes, however you want to mention it, right? And northern kingdom is majority made of what they call Native Indians today or Hispanics and Latinos today, right? This is who they are. So during the Assyrian captivity, right? But prior, this is before the Babylonian captivity. If you look up in history, right, all of these events took place during world history. Right? These are actual events. Right? The king of Assyria went into the land of Israel and scattered the northern kingdom, forced them out of their land, right? Brought them into captivity in Assyria, right? And a good majority of them thought amongst themselves to leave the land of Israel, leave the Assyrian captivity, and come into a new land, or like the Bible says, another land, right? Verse 41. But they took this counsel amongst themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Right? They are the first settlers of America. Right? These native Indians, the Aztecs, Mayans, Incas, Arawak Indians, Taino Indians, they all come from the Middle East. They all come from the Middle East, right? They are Asiatic, right? Because they are one of the 12 tribes of Israel, right? And long ago, before anybody else dwelt in this land, right? Long ago, they was out there in the Middle East, in Israel, under Assyrian captivity, and they were the first ones to sail over here. Right? And Christopher Columbus knew this in his own book, right? Memoir, his title, it says how he used the Apocrypha to find the land of America. When he came over here, he brought Hebrew scholars and translators to communicate with the people that was over here because he knew people was over here. Right? You read the book Lost Tribes and Promised Land, it tells you when the conquistadors landed on this land, that people communicated with them and spoke to them in Hebrew and mentioned how the other tribes are nearby. Right? These are books that's published that you can find online about actual historical accounts. Right? This is who they are. Spanish is not their native tongue. Like, that's not their native language. Right? Portuguese, not their native language. They are the Israelites. They spoke Hebrew. Verse 42, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. Right? They brought all of the, culture and, their whole identity of who they are over here to America. Right? If you read certain stories about the practices and traditions of the Native Indians, they match damn near identical to the Hebrew Israelites of the Bible. Right? That's the reason why you'll see Native Indians with fringes. Right? Some of the ceremonial practices that was done here in this land of America before the colonizers came is damn near identical with the Hebrew Israelites of the Bible. Right? How they will go to a seer for medicine, for healing. Right? How they will observe certain high holy days, Sabbath days. Right? This is what was done here in America. Right? They try to say there was uncivilized people. That's wrong. They were well civilized, right? Because they are the children of Israel. Right? And I'm going to read verse 43. They entered into Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river, for the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. Right? So they traveled from the Euphrates out in the Middle East, right, all the way down towards the eastern part of Africa, all the way traveling down towards the southern part of Africa, to coming across the Atlantic and arriving here in America. All right, it took them about, namely, a year and a half. The Lord is the one that ordained it for it to happen. Right? It said, and I'm gonna read on verse 45. The same region is called Isupk. Then dwelt they there until the latter time. What time? Latter time. That is the time that we in now. We at the end of days, and they are still here. They are still in this land. Right? And now when they shall begin to come. So this is who they are. The Bible proves that they are the children of Israel. Right? We get the next one. All right, so now that we know that they are the children of Israel, let's see what's the reason why the children of Israel, God's chosen people, are going through what they're going through. So the next one I'm going to get is Deuteronomy 27. I ain't going to try to hold y'all too long, or all the people that are viewing. We won't try to go through these so y'all can get a clear understanding of what's happening today. It was talked about in the Bible thousands of years ago. I don't know if you can read this part in Spanish first, and then.
We could read it in English first. Well, you could read it in English first, and then I'll go in Spanish.
Okay, all right. This is Deuteronomy 27:1. Right. And Moses with the elders of Israel. I can't read this all. This. Let me change this up real quick. That was that old English. All right. It says Deuteronomy 27:1, and Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day. So this is Moses speaking to the children of Israel. So what we're about to read about in the next chapter only pertains to the Israelites. Okay.
You want me to go ahead, sir?
Yeah, if you could read 27:1 in Spanish.
All right. Salakia, sir.
No, you got it.
Deuteronomy 27:1. Ordenó Moisés con los ancianos de Israel al pueblo diciendo, guardaréis todos los mandamientos que yo os prescribo hoy. Y el día que pase el Jordán a la tierra que Jehová tu Dios te da, levantarás piedras grandes y las revocarás con cal.
That's 27:1, right? So that right there is speaking to you, Hispanic. Right? That's speaking directly to you, so-called Hispanics, so-called Latinos. Because you are the children of Israel. We just brought out the historical facts that's written up on how you first traveled here. Right? So the Arabic Indians, Aztecs, Incas, Mayans, Taínos, all the native tribes, Blackfoot, Cherokee, right? They are all the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. They are Israelites according to the Bible. And this is what the prophecy of Moses has for his people, right? 28:15. I'm going to read that in English, and the brother's going to read it in Spanish. It says, but it shall come to pass, like Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass that thou wilt not hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, what I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. All right. You can read that in Spanish for me.
Deuterónimo 28:15. Pero pero acontecerá si no oyeres la voz de Jehová tu Dios, para procurar cumplir todos sus mandamientos y sus estatutos que yo te intimo hoy, que vendrán sobre ti todas esas maldiciones y te alcanzarán.
Damn right, the water word. You know what I mean? That's what the Lord is saying to you so-called Hispanics and Latinos, right? There is laws written of in the Bible that we are prohibited to break, to do. You know what I mean? That we're prohibited to break, right? That we're obligated to do, right? These idols, these religions, which is really idols that we worship out in these Sunday services and in these churches, right? It's all against God. God is not for the fact of his people breaking his commandments. You know what I mean? And this is what the Lord is saying unto his people, being that our people have been exiled for our nation and lost our identity, right? It's been prophesied in the Bible that all of this was going to happen. It was prophesied that we was going to be put in the position that we in today. And before I get this prophecy of the punishment of God, I want to read verse 46. We got to understand. I want to bring out something that we should understand about these punishments, right, in these prophecies. Right, Deuteronomy 28, verse 46. And they shall be unto thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thee and upon thy seed forever. So the Bible is saying that these punishments of God is going to be for a sign and a wonder. Right? Meaning this, for an example, let's say your phone dies. Right? Most of us got GPS on our phone. We utilize our phone to get to our location. Let's say your phone dies and you're driving on the road. You've been driving for miles on out. You get a little bit hungry. Let's say you're craving some McDonald's. All right. And while you're driving, what are you going to look out for in order to locate a McDonald's? Anybody? Right? What are you going to look for? You're going to look for that golden M. That's what you're going to look for. You're going to look for the McDonald's sign. Right? That golden M is a what? It's an indicator that this is where the McDonald's is located. Well, guess what? That's what the punishment of God is for us, for black, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. It's an indicator of who these people are today. Meaning, if you don't fit these punishments, then you are not God's chosen people. So I'm gonna go ahead and comb through a couple that correlates exactly with God's chosen people today. Right. So if you can read that in Spanish, and anything you want to bring out in Spanish as well too, you can go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? Anything you want to add.
Sir.
So,
Salakia.
go ahead.
You want me to read Deuteronomy 28:46?
Please.
Sir. Deuteronomio 28:46. Y serán en ti por señal y por maravilla y en tus descendencias para siempre.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? This is for Latino people, right? I'm gonna read some of these curses. Let's get Deuteronomy 28:32. All right, it says, "Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. They shall be no might in thy hand." Don't that sound familiar to what's going on today?
Sir.
You know what I mean? Like, this fits us perfectly. You know why? Because we are the children of Israel. We are the people who Moses spoke this to. When he spoke this, he was speaking to so-called Latinos and Hispanics. Because your true identity is Israelite. Right? You can read that in Spanish?
Sir. Deuteronomio 28:32. Tus hijos y tus hijas serán entregados a otro pueblo, y tus ojos lo verán, y desfallecerán por ellos todo el día, y no habrá fuerza en tu mano.
God. If you want to add anything in Spanish too, you can go right ahead.
All right. Eso es, and that's Moses talking to them, right?
Right.
Eso ese es Moisés hablándole a ellos. Eso es algo increíble y eso es algo que está pasando hoy en día. Ahora mismo está pasando eso con esto del ICE y del gobierno, llevándose a los niños de las graduaciones, llevándose a los papás de los trabajos. ¿Entienden? Eso es algo que estamos viviendo hoy en día. Lo estamos viviendo hoy en día. Y por eso yo digo que hay que abrir los ojos, nos tenemos que unir. Sir.
Damn right, man. Nah, so wow. That's what it's all about. These prophecies fit the Hispanic people the best. All right. That's what's happening with these ICE raids. They're separating the children away from the parents. We just seen the video. Right. Let's get one more out of these punishments. Let's get Deuteronomy 28:49. It says, "The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far." Right. This is what happened to the Aztecs, Mayans, Incans, the Arawak, Taino Indians. This is what happened to them. A nation from far. Conquistadors came here, sailed miles across the Atlantic, right, from the ends of the earth. And this is going to show you, by this prophecy, is going to show you exactly who it's talking about. Who is the nation that came over here from far? As swift as an eagle flight. Right? That is spiritually speaking, talking about the European. Right? Every European nation has the eagle as their national symbol. Each and every one of them. Right? If you look at the back of a quarter, what's on the back of a quarter? The eagle. America's national eagle symbol is the bald eagle.
Bald eagle, yeah.
Right. Khan. You know what I mean? And any other European nation, Germany, they all have it the same. Right? Because this is the people that came over here and conquered, colonized the land. Right? A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Right? Like I said, Spanish is not their native tongue. Portuguese is not their native tongue. Like, that's the language of the conquistadors that tortured the natives, the Taínos and the Arawak Indians and the Aztecs and Mayans, tortured them. I'm talking about heinous and harsh torture to force them to speak Spanish, to force them to worship Catholicism. All right, this is what they did. Right? Verse 50: a nation of fierce conscience, right? Meaning they are angry and aggressive, right? Which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. Right? They can care less if you're old or young. They're still going to treat you with cruelty, because that's what's within their nature to do. Right? You can read that in Spanish 49 and 50 for me, bro. Sure.
Concert. Deuteronomio 28 y 49. Jehová traerá contra ti una nación de lejos, del extremo de la tierra, que vuela como águila, nación cuya lengua no entenderás. Deuteronomio 28 y 50. Gente fiera de rostros, que no tendrán respeto al anciano, ni perdonará al niño. Y esto es algo que es muy importante, porque los conquistadores, ellos no hicieron creer que español es el lenguaje de nosotros. Y no es así. No es así. Nosotros venimos de Israel. Nosotros somos israelitas. Y ellos, en sacarnos de esas naciones y regar nuestras lenguas, los conquistadores vinieron y nos hicieron creer que español es el lenguaje de nosotros, cuando no es así.
Damn right. The water. I mean, damn right. Let's go ahead and grab the next one. So now that we got what the problem is, right? The problem that's been prophesied thousands of years before it happened, let's get to the solution. Let's get Zephaniah 2 and 1 now. This is the only thing that's going to save so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians. No other solution. You cannot legislate this away. You cannot reform this away. You cannot integrate this away. Right? The only solution is a biblical solution. Right? Zephaniah 2 and 1, it says, gather yourselves together. This is what Blacks and Hispanics need to do. We are allies. We are amigos. You know what I mean? Brothers, man. You know what I mean? We are one family, one race. And what we need to do is band together. We are stronger together. And the Bible is commanding us that we gather together. That's the whole foundation of the New Testament. This is why Christ came, is to bring Hispanics and Black people together. Because that's the only way we're going to defeat our enemies. And we got one common enemy, and that is the so-called white. The Bible is commanded that we gather ourselves together. Yea, gather together, all nation not desire. Right? You can read that in Spanish for me.
Concert. Sofonías 2 y 1. Congregaos y meditad, oh nación sin pudor. That was it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
That's what we need to do. Gather together. Join your brothers. And your oppressor knows this. He incites fear in us. You know what I mean? Like, he pushes fear on us to make us think that we can never overcome this oppression. But once we start to realize our true power and who we really are, we'll be able to fight against it. Right? And our true power comes with our love for each other. It comes with being brothers and sisters for each other. That's how we're going to get our true power to fight this oppression. All right? So once we come together, this is what we also must do. Exodus chapter 2, verse 23. And it shall come to pass in the process of time that the king of Egypt died. And it came to pass in the process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of their bondage. What we got to do then, once we come together, find our identity, get our true culture, our true heritage, we got to turn to God now. We got to keep the laws, statutes, commandments. Right? You already heard what these oppressors are saying. Run us over. Shoot them in the streets. That's what they're saying. Well, we going to need a power that's stronger than them that's going to be able to fight on our side and fight against them. Right? During the time of Egypt, we didn't lift not one sword against the Egyptians. We didn't do nothing to physically harm them. All right? Our salvation came from God. Once we turn to God, then guess what? God will unalive. You'll put them all to death. Because that's what God is on. He's a just God. He's not about all love and holding hands. We are his children, and he is our Father. Right? And these people that exist on earth have been bullying his children. What you think a good father is going to do? Just sit back and just forget about it? No, he's going to step in. Right? The same way he stepped in the time of Egypt. So what we got to do is cry to God. Right? Can you read that for me real quick?
Sir. Éxodo 2:23. Aconteció que después de muchos días murió el rey de Egipto, y los hijos de Israel gemían a causa de servidumbre, y clamaron, y subió a Dios el clamor de ellos con motivo de su servidumbre.
Damn right. Damn right. Anything you want to add?
No, sir.
All right. So I'm going to get the next one, right? So this is step by step of what we need to do. Right? The next one is Exodus 23 and 22. Right? Once we turn to God, this is what God is going to do. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I spake, then I will be an enemy unto thy enemies and an adversary unto thy adversary. So this is Exodus 23 and 22. Read it again. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I spake, then I will be an enemy unto thy enemies and an adversary unto thy adversary. God will fight on our side once we turn to him. And we got to understand this beast is our enemy. Gringo el diablo. I don't know how to say it correctly, but yes, he's an enemy.
Yeah, dice el diablo. Siempre, sir. Dice el diablo. You can say that again, brother.
Yeah, he's only doing what an enemy does. And there's no joining. If you can read that in Spanish.
Concern.
We only got two left.
Éxodo 23 y 22. Pero si en verdad oyeres su voz e hicieres todo lo que yo te dijere, seré enemigo de tus enemigos y afligiré a los que te afligiren.
Damn right. I mean, and now that we got that the Lord is gonna be an enemy to our enemies once we turn to him. This is what the Lord is gonna do to our enemies. This is Revelations 13 and verse 9. If a man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Right? This is what we're waiting on. We're waiting for the Lord to give us justice. That's all we're waiting for, justice. For all the inhumane and crime that has been committed against God's chosen people. Right? The so-called European man led the so-called Hispanics and Latinos into captivity. Like the transatlantic slave trade did not start with Africans, so-called Africans being sold across the Atlantic. It first started when the conquistadors was taking the Indians and selling them back to Spain. You know what I mean? We all been in captivity. We all been into slavery. Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians together. And the Bible says, he that leadeth in captivity is going to go into captivity. Guess what? The Lord is going to make this European man, he's going to make him an illegal.
Salakia, sir.
Go ahead, get down, word.
I just wanted to add something in Spanish real quick.
Get down.
You know how you said earlier, this is what's going on, this is what we have to do, and then this is what the Lord is, you know what I'm saying, gonna do for us, right or wrong?
Right.
So I just want to say that in Spanish so they can understand and, you know, follow along with us.
Please, the water, brother. I appreciate that.
Esto es lo que estamos leyendo y estas escrituras que te estamos dando es para que entiendan lo que está pasando ahora mismo, lo que Dios, el proceso que tenemos que pasar, lo que tenemos que hacer para que Dios después nos ayude, para que Él esté con nosotros. ¿Entienden? Tenemos que unirnos y hacer, ¿cómo se dice? Tenemos que unirnos y para que entiendan mejor, este es el proceso de que dijo Dios, basically.
Damn right, the water, man. Yeah, if you want to, you might as well could just read this one in Spanish as well too.
All right. And which one is this one? Apocalypse 13 and 9?
13 and 9, verse 10.
I'm sorry. It says Apocalypse in Spanish. This is what Revelations.
Okay, most I'm correct.
All right. Apocalipsis 13 y 9. Si alguno tiene oído, oiga. Keep going, sir.
Yeah, verse 10, please.
All right. Apocalipsis 13 y 10. Si alguno lleva en cautividad, va en cautividad. Si alguno mata a espada debe ser muerto. Aquí está la paciencia y la fe de los santos. Otra vez, esto es Dios diciendo lo que Él va a hacer por nosotros. I'm done.
Damn right, man. The water. So we're going to get our last one, right? So I don't want to be too long. I'm going to get Revelations 21 and 4. In conclusion, after the Lord destroy our enemies, this is what we hope to expect. This is what we hope to get in return, right? Because we are suffering in this place. Hispanic people, Haitian people, there's some hard times getting ready to come, right? And it's high times that we turn to God, right? So this is Revelations chapter 21, verse 4. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. This is what we hope for. Right? You want to read that out in Spanish, or we'll close it up.
Concert. Apocalipsis 21 y 4. Enjuagará Dios toda lágrima de los ojos de ellos, y ya no habrá más muerte, ni habrá más llanto, ni clamor, ni dolor, porque las primeras cosas pasaron.
Damn right, man. Damn right. So I hope, man, y'all got some good information from this, man. We're going to go ahead and close it out. I want to say to why my boy, y'all read, help me out with translation, you know what I'm saying? You're going to see more of this, brother. Soon enough, y'all going to see more of this, brother, man.
Definitely, man.
Right.
Definitely.
Prophecy is definitely being fulfilled. You know, I come from the tribe of Levi. This brother's from the tribe of Ephraim. I'm a so-called Haitian, so-called Puerto Rican, and this is what it looks like, you know what I mean, to bring the 12 tribes together. This is what it looks like when we put our differences aside and no longer look at each other as different and start to see each other how God intended it to be. You know what I mean? We are brothers and sisters, and this is just a clear presentation to show you that be on the lookout. Be vigilant on what's to come. Call the ISUPK if you need help. You know, we got schools all across the nation. If you have family members that's in danger from these ICE agents, give us a call, man. We will protect you. Right? And anything you want to add before we close out in
Yeah,
Spanish,
I want to
English?
kind of translate that a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Para los hispanos, para que entiendan mejor un poco también, que esto es lo que estamos haciendo nosotros, esto es nosotros uniéndonos, porque ahora mismo hay muchos hispanos que dicen, son muy separados a los hermanos de nosotros. Estamos muy separados y tenemos que unirnos como una nación. Y si alguno de ustedes necesitan ayuda, necesitan cualquier cosa, ustedes llaman a la escuela del ISUPK y nosotros te podemos ayudar, podemos darle una mano, porque estamos aquí para levantar a nuestros hermanos. And yeah, that's basically
right. With that, man, we're gonna go ahead and clip it. Water, once again, man, I highly appreciate you, brother.
I'm always here, man. I'm always here. You know that, man.
Damn right, man. Damn right. With that, shalom, Israel.
Shalom.